Welcome to The Other Side, Beyond the Looking Glass. We're a spinoff of the popular podcast Through the Looking Glass, continuing meaningful conversations with a focus on solutions. Join us as we dive below the surface, openly addressing trauma, barriers, communication, and cultural factors that impact relationships. We aim to build understanding, provide resources, and cultivate healthier connections. While our topics can help all, our primary focus will be on the communities of color. So let's explore Wonderland beyond the looking glass as we uncover paths to healthier bonds, healing, and a more authentic you. Hey everybody, welcome back. We've been gone for such a long time, right? Well, it feels like we've been gone for a long time. We left in the spring. We're different. We're different now. We are the Wonderland. We are Wonderland beyond the looking glass. And there's a lot of reasons why we've chosen to go into a different phase. And we're going to talk a little bit about that this evening as we kind of focus on why we think solution-based podcasting or intentional podcasting is needed in today's culture. We have a lot of podcasts that are out here telling you about the problem, making fun of the problem, highlighting the problem. Very few are telling us how to resolve the issue, right? And that's kind of why we chose to go in the route that we've gone. So before we go into more about this new phase beyond the looking glass, I kind of want to go around and do a big mental health check, right? Not what we're used to with the smaller ones, but how was your whole freaking summer? What did you learn? What did you do? We all know, the podcast crew knew Chris fell off the face of the earth. So maybe we'll get some insight on what happened to him while he was in the abyss and find out with Keisha what's been going on. And then I'll share a bunch of what happened with me, which is a bunch of, not a lot, but somebody might be interested. I don't know. But Chris, how was your summer? What did you do? What did you learn? Where did you go?
That was like the Biggie Lot song, whatever. 24 hours to live. Yeah. But no, hey, I'm good. I mean, haven't really been anywhere, but I mean, I've been on an adventure. So I mean, like I said, what I've learned is I've learned a lot about me. And like I said, I've kind of changed up a lot of things. Far as maybe people I'm around, activities I do, and I mean it was some of the things that I had been in probably about the past year been doing, to kind of cutting things off here and there, but it's just really fully committing to doing certain things. So with that, I mean I feel like I tell anybody any chance I get, like this is the best I've felt like in a long time, and I'm saying like mentally, physically, everything. Like I said, it's like my head is clear, like I can think better now, and it's like my interactions with people is also kind of different. And then also with that, like my physical, like I said, I've lost maybe about 50, 60 pounds. And just by like
And I might
cutting down
add, he
certain
looks
things.
amazing, ladies. So we just saw him
Already.
a couple weeks ago, and I mean his email's still the same.
Yeah. So I mean, but with that, like, man, I just feel like I'm like a brand new person. Oh man, yeah, I just feel good. Happy to be back. Happy to be back.
Okay.
What's up with you, Keisha?
Well, hello, everyone. Hello.
What?
Um, this summer, I worked most of the summer. I didn't do a whole lot of traveling this summer. I did. I got out a little, and let's see. It's been a busy summer. Boring in comparison to last summer. This summer has been just pretty much working and boring. What I've learned is to definitely practice more self-care, and I'm excited about the fall. Fall and winter is like my favorite times of the year. So I'm hoping that the things that I didn't get a chance to participate in this summer, I definitely will indulge this fall and winter. And you, Michelle?
Yes, it's my turn. Um, School has been kicking my butt. I think I skated for a good amount of time, but I think I have met the limit of my intelligence level and I'm actually having to read and take notes and everything else. So school has been the primary focus over the summer. A lot of people know I'm an animal lover. I have two dogs. And I love like going to the what is it, the pound or the little where the dogs go when they're lonely and don't have a home. But I
Shelter.
did learn over the shelter, that place. But I did learn over the summer, like all stray animals you can't rehabilitate, and some dogs are better left in the streets. And once you officially learn them, you just have to, wish them well, give them a travel bag, and just say, look, all stray dogs can't be fixed. So that was a big lesson over
Oh man.
over the
Oh
summer.
man.
Um,
I'm so happy to be back.
Yeah, I'm happy
Yeah.
that you're back too.
Yo, oh man, this is like, uh, this is fun. This is fun.
so yeah, that was a good chunk of my summer, and we have a big some other stuff going on the business front that's happening. But to jump forward into this new phase of beyond the looking glass, why do you all feel that solution based episodes now are a good idea?
I would say it's because I mean it kind of it one gets away from beating the same dead horse that everyone has kind of identified what the issues were, and now we just hop on that, and that's one of the reasons why I just got off of social media, because it's constantly you're hearing the same stuff, but then you never hear anybody talk about, hey, well, how can we fix this? Or sometimes realizing, okay, how did it get this way? Because sometimes you can't fix a problem unless you know the origin of it. So, like I said, that's why I think like it's going to be good going beyond the issues or problems that's always being discussed.
How about you, Keisha? What do you think about solution based episodes and what we're doing?
I am all for solution based. Um, Solution focus is one of my favorite theoretical approaches in counseling, though we're not doing counseling on the podcast. Because we can talk about problems all day long. We can talk about problems. We can go into depths of problems. We can go into layers of problems. I mean, just whatever, whatever, whatever. But at some point, we need to talk about some solutions. How do we resolve these things so that we can reach our full potential in life? Because if we just sitting here mixing and adding on to the problems, it's not really going to assist us into moving forward in life. So, solution is definitely a direction I'm happy that we're going into this season, so that we can, not only help our listeners but help ourselves with really taking a dive into, okay, this has happened. We can't change it. Now let's look at some possible solutions on how we can overcome the things that we have went through in life so that we can reach our full potential.
Absolutely. And on our new website, which we have a nice, pretty new, clean website, we have listed what our core foundations are moving forward with the podcast. And one of them is accountability. And for me, I feel accountability is a huge piece of being solution focused, because if you don't have an awareness of what's going on, how can you address it? And understanding that the problem has more than one the one area, right? You have to understand where your fault is when you're looking at some issues. And some of that might not even be a situation where you've done anything wrong. It might be a lack of knowledge or a lack of understanding. And that's where another way we can come in, or we will be coming in with these episodes, because we're not just going to be talking about challenges, because I mean, we've had multiple seasons, 5 actually seasons, with Through the Looking Glass, where we focused on the issue. But we want to look at where we play a role in the issue and the flip side of it. And when the last meeting that we all got together, Chris was pivotal in the discussion of maybe looking at an issue from the other side. So I'm gonna throw this back to Chris. When you were talking about that, like when we were talking about, dating a divorcee, which will be our next episode, we were looking at, if you're on the receiving end of some of these challenges, not just your experience it, but on the receiving end of it, and how to mitigate or manage or maneuver with those types of situations. Can you kind of go into why you feel that's important and why that needs to be discussed, where it's not just looking at what you're doing, but how you receive things?
Yeah, you just have to look at it like, I mean, I hate to say use this cliche, but just be in the other person's shoes and just kind of seeing things from their perspective. And I think by doing that, you kind of get, you might not agree with that person's perspective, but you may come to an understanding, and now you can kind of see, okay, this is why they reacted this way, and then maybe if you knew that, then you would react it differently. Not saying that it's always your fault or it could be always the other person's fault, like it's not saying that, but it's just kind of looking at things from that other perspective, because then it kind of opens you up, not only with that situation with that person, then other individuals that you might have different kind of dealings with a relationship with in the future. So it's always good to look at the different perspective.
And that makes sense too, because like you said, you might not be aware of, let's use somebody who, I'll use my example, right? I have anxiety issues. I'm anxious about most things in the world. And that can come across to individuals who might not be aware of what it is or what that could look like. I'll use a lighthearted one, right? I have a very jumpy personality, like a loud noise or whatever, I'm jumping. I'm not scared. I'm not freaking out. It's just an exaggerated startle reflex that I have. But if you're not used to it, I had somebody tell me they wanted to hug it out of me. And you can't hug that out of me. it's it's a part of me. But I got what they were saying, right? And another, other things about people who have anxious attachment styles and everything else, there are challenges with that. And the aspect of what Chris is talking about, if you're on the receiving end, if the relationship's worth it, right? There's relationships that are not worth it, where you're just like, you know what, I don't want to sign up for this. And you have every right to say that. I don't want to sign up for this. But if you choose to, it's really beneficial for both parties to learn about that person's whatever. And there's things I'm not going to sign up for. As somebody who has a drug issue or an alcohol issue, I'm not signing up for that. I'm not going to learn about what your addiction style is. I'm not going to learn about how you're going to act when you're on the, I'm not going to learn about that, because I'm not signing up for it. If you come from some place where trauma was in your background, depending on the relationship, obviously I have a background in it, it's going to be a tad bit easier for me, but it's still a challenge. So you have to learn about that particular diagnosis, right? That's kind of learning more about, I'm going to do the extra work so I can make the relationship work. You know what I'm saying? What's your insight, Keisha, with all that?
I think if you feel like this person is worth it, and you really, if you're in this relationship and you're in it to win it, then yes, if dealing with someone who's a drug addict is your thing, then yeah, okay, learn the stages, go to the support groups with them. If that's your thing and you have the energy for it, go for it. But if it's not, then of course this is not something that you want to put yourself in that situation, because it then becomes exhausting. You're not helping with the solution at that point.
Right.
So it's knowing your limits, and once you are aware of your limits, if this is something that you're okay with engaging in, then do that.
Right.
Be a part of the solution, not part of the problem.
So another part too of what we hope this new format does is gives individuals the words. A lot of times working in the mental health field, we will work with clients who they can kind of explain what's going on or know that they're feeling, they don't like the way they're feeling, but they don't have the words to explain what's happening. And a lot of things change when you have the words to say, you know what, I feel that this is connected to this event in my life and I want to address it. I want to change it. So it also is kind of like when you go to the doctor, right? And those you get those faces and for the little kids and they tell you what face is what you're feeling. Is it really, really bad pain or not? It's because a lot of times people don't have the words to explain or express. I was involved with somebody and I would get so annoyed when they would when he would say, what are you thinking? What are you feeling? I don't know. And that would literally piss me off. Like, how do you not know? But as I learned that individual, I started to realize it wasn't that he didn't know what he was feeling. He did not know how to express it to me. And that's a difference. That's a difference. But it took me saying, pull back, right? You don't know everything. And that's another thing. We all have to understand that we have to be teachable.
Right.
Even working in the mental health field, we don't know everything, which is obvious in the semester I'm in right now. But you have to be able to pull back and say, this is an individual who has individual needs, concerns, and whatever else. Let me take time and do my due diligence to make sure, A, this is what I want to do, but B, if there's an issue, what's the solution? Because I like we were been saying, so many people focus on the problem, and we can tell you what the problem is all day. The challenge is, how do you fix it? How do you fix it? So what are some things that you all feel we're going to be able to accomplish with this different format for people?
Well, I
You
feel like
talking about? Go ahead, Keith.
No, I was just going to say, I feel like we'll be able to, as we are addressing the problems, we'll be able to also, when you bring the problem, when you start, the problem is surface, you're able to give some tips and strategies for assisting not just our listeners, but ourselves, each other with coming up with solutions to solve them. So, in these episodes, you're getting some things to put in your toolkit to help you on your journey with some solutions on how you're gonna fix this thing, even if it's just a way of just directing them to an outside resource beyond the podcast. So I think that's how it'll help.
I think what people get from it is just hearing and seeing a kind of different perspective of it, or a different scenario, or seeing it all through, because I think a lot of times people get stuck with these issues because they don't know how to do it, or they think that it's so normal because hey, this is all they see, this is all they've had and been through, so it's just, hey, okay, this is normal, this is just how it is. But now with us kind of discussing and not saying that we have the answers and everything, we know everything, just kind of say, hey, like, maybe this right here will work, or this right here is really the root cause. And like you said, just let's either figure out the root cause of the issue and then go ahead and just solve it. and move forward instead of just repeating the same cycles.
Right, right. And a phrase root cause for any data analysis out there, right? We have a 5 why program where, well, not a program, but technique where you ask the question why 5 times to get to a root cause situation. And even though that's based primarily within the technical field of data, I've used it with clients all the time where they'll give you an initial issue and we go back 5 whys and we can get to a core situation of, okay, this is where it's originating from. Because like I've told parents too, when I worked with a lot of parents who were dealing with teens and kids who had challenging behaviors, the behavior is a symptom of something else, right? There's not a bad child or a bad individual. The behavior is undesirable, but it's giving you an indicator that there's something else going on. And it's our hopes that you can listen to these episodes, these podcasts, and say, okay, this might not be what's going on with me, but it's giving me a starting point, right? So if you do decide to go talk to a counselor or you're working with somebody already, counselors, coaches, therapists, whatever, there's something that you might hear in these episodes to say, you know what? A, I didn't even know that was a thing. B, now I have the words to explain to whomever I'm working with what's going on, right? And again, we want to make sure and caveat that nothing on our website, nothing in these episodes is meant to substitute professional help and support. But what it is a supplement to help and assist people in these areas. So when we're looking at accountability, the next step is that integrity piece. When we want to talk about things, like you got to be honest with yourself. And I think that's a big challenge for people, and for a couple reasons, right? You might not want to be honest with yourself because it's going to open a whole can of worms on wounding that you're not really ready to deal with, or you don't know, right? And if you don't know, you don't know. So looking at one of our core values of the podcast, this phase is that integrity piece. And just to throw the back out to you all, has there ever been a time when you have been working through something and you really couldn't face what your part in the situation is? I'm going to Chris first because he's laughing. I think he had a memory.
Hold on. Repeat the question again.
Yeah, right. Has there ever been a time where you were dealing with a situation or an issue where you had to really be honest with yourself about what part you played?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I have. I mean, now I will say it took me a while to get there. That it wasn't anything that, I mean, it took years for me to finally open my eyes and basically accept or hold myself accountable for my actions and all. Yeah, so yeah, I've definitely been there.
I know I have. Um, I was told straight up, somebody told me I'm lying to myself. So I was told that you think you're a much nicer person than you actually are. And I, again, you have to consider the source. The person who was saying that was pissed at me at the time. But you do have to take into accountability, right? In your own integrity, like, okay, let me look at myself and then be honest with myself. Am I cold to individuals? That's a whole nother podcast for another day. But Keisha, jumping deflect.
Let's
So
not jump over that. So
how
are you? I
we
think
only
you
got
should
10 more minutes.
answer.
We only got 10 more minutes.
I really think you should answer. What I have to
We
say will take 2 minutes. So I mean,
I think it depends on the person.
okay.
And then it depends on the person, but it also depends on the motive. Because it could be a defensive mechanism, it could be a distractor, or I could really be just being a whole ass to that person. So it really depends on a bunch of other factors. But have you had to deal with anything like that, Keisha, where you've had to really kind of step back and be able to look at yourself and say,
Absolutely. Yes, definitely. Especially when you're looking at patterns of making bad choices. So yes, it's been times I had to step back and look at myself. It's been times I wasn't able to see it because I was in the middle of it. I was too close to the issue. So it took somebody else to um, identify these things and help me to see that I was part of the problem.
Right, right. So those are some of the foundation that we use, right? Integrity, accountability, but the other ones are knowledge, commitment, and resources. And that's another area where we hope to expand people's knowledge of what's available out here, what is accessible, and how to get the ability to interact with resources. And then commitment. If you're going to do something, let's do it, right? I'm a big person of don't talk about it, be about it. So we're hoping that all of these together will make this next phase of our podcast journey one that's beneficial to most. And again, as I always say, even though our podcasting is primarily for the communities of color, it's really something that everybody can listen to and pull nuggets that can help them in their own personal journey. One thing I also want to just highlight is the podcasting time frame. So instead of being a full hour, we will be doing 30-minute episodes. Again, time is money, and we do understand that it takes time for you to listen, and we do appreciate that, and we want to make sure that we're giving you depth and good information, but in a timely fashion. So as we get close to rounding out our first episode of Beyond the Looking Glass, um, what do you guys want to tell the people now that we're back? Now that we have a next phase, um, what is something that you think you could share that could be something that somebody can take away today? Come on, you always have something to say. As you can see, our sarcasm still remains.
Oh, you talking to Keisha?
I'm talking to you.
Oh, um,
Unless you were having a moment in there, I don't know.
no, man, just look, man, just be better, do better. Just try to be a better person. Like, yeah, man. I don't know.
That's something you say in the
Who's
mirror
going
every day.
Hey, first of all, if you're listening to my advice, I don't know. I mean, just like, okay, I got it. 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 Just be you. That'll be my advice. Just be you. Find out who you are and just be that. Don't worry about anybody else's perception of you.
Okay. Okay. How about you,
Right.
Keisha?
Well, I would say do what makes you happy. Do what makes you happy. Love on you so much and let your light shine until others can see it. Just focus on you. Focus on you more in whatever you're working on or dealing with right now. Focus on you. Focus on being happy or making your situation better.
Awesome. And I think mine will kind of merge in with what both of you said. Don't allow people to put you in a box of what they feel you should be. And with that meaning what people think about you. The most important person that you really should be concerned about how you feel about yourself is you. Because at the end of the day, you're going to sleep with yourself, you're waking up with yourself, you're with yourself the most. And that's the opinion and the voice that should be the loudest. So be mindful of that. Don't allow people to put you into what their box is. And again, that was what the whole looking glass self theory is based off of, assimilation into what community, society is telling you what you should be. But here's the thing, you keep going in that direction, then you forget about who you actually are. And when you get into that space in life, it gets really lonely because sooner or later the mask falls off and you don't even recognize yourself. You don't even recognize yourself. So that would be my piece of the puzzle. And again, we're glad you guys are on the journey. Thank you for everybody who was communicating with us as we took a break, and kind of nudged us to get back up and running. I'm not gonna lie, this was a lot more of Keisha's doing, Chris's support, and just you all saying you wanted it, because I was literally tapped out. I mean, pulling the plug was pretty much where I was at. So the fact that we're back here again, it's definitely out of love and dedication to you all and making sure that we are providing something that is worth something, and not just a bunch of other people talking about what's going on and who's doing what and who's doing who. And it needs to be quality stuff. So we weren't going to come back until we were able to get to a place where that's what we were going to provide. So as always, I want to thank you all for listening. And my sign off is still the same, you guys. So yeah, everybody take care, stay safe, be well. And also remember, karma is the best revenge. All right, we about to hit number 2. Hold
That
on,
sounds
let
like
me.
a threat.
Just had to do that. Oh my gosh.
That's my new sign off.
Look, man, that's terrible. That does sound like a threat.